Nun Hey. Nun Hey Amid Beis. We're starting from, it must be 12 lines from the bottom. Sorry, 15 lines from the bottom. So it's Ruvain, Bnei Eily, Bnei Shmuel, David, Shlomo, Yoyash. There's a correction on the side, Yeshio, Simon. Those are the people that we've been talking about. The last Gemara we spoke about Ruvain, that anyone that says Ruvain sinned is making a mistake. When it says that he lay with his father's wife, Bilhah. So that was a mistake. Really, he just rearranged the bed because he was claiming his mother's honor. We said there was a machlekes about that. Today we learn, let's start. Amar Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rab Yonasan. Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani says in the name of Rab Yonasan, it's very common for Rab Yonasan to be speaking in Agarata. And Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani quotes him, Kol ha'omer b'nei Eily chatu. Anyone that says that the sons of Eily sinned, ein elataya. It's making a mistake. It's not correct that the sons of Eily sinned. Eily was the Kohen Gadol, the Navi and the Shofet, the one that blessed Chana to have the son, to have Shmuel. But his sons were so good. It says that they lay with the. It says two things. It says that they took from the fat before the blood was sprinkled. They took from the meat before the blood was sprinkled. It said they lay with the women that came to offer sacrifices. So, but our Gemara says that it's all a mistake. If you think that that's literal, that's a mistake. Shenamar, we have a pasuk b'sham shnei b'nei Eily in Maraim bris alikim. I don't know if that's part of the pasuk. Chafni and Pinchas kainim lashem. It says over there were the two sons of Eily with the ark, Chafni and Pinchas, and they were priests. They were priests to Hashem. They were kainim. And Savalak Rav, the Amarav, he holds like Rav because Rav says Pinchas leichata. So the two sons of Eily were Chafni and Pinchas. Rav says Pinchas didn't sin. Over there in the pasuk says V'sham shnei b'nei Eily. It puts the two together. So if Pinchas didn't sin, then Chafni also didn't sin. Makish Chafni lePinchas. We compare Chafni to Pinchas. Those are the two sons. Ma Pinchas leichata, Chafni leichata. They both didn't sin. The problem is Elamani Mekayim Asher Yishkavanas Anashim. The pasuk says they lay with the women. So the Gemara answers Mitech Sheshoas Kineyem, because they would delay bringing their bird offering. If they gave birth or they were reserved, they would have to bring these birds, and they would delay bringing it. Now the women were not sure that it was really going to be brought. They had to wait around to make sure. They wanted to see it done. So the women were waiting extra at the Mishkan to make sure that Chafni and Pinchas would actually bring that small sacrifice. So it seems that there is an accepted view that they wanted the bigger sacrifices. They weren't the best. They wanted the fat and the big animals. And they would delay the small ones, but they didn't actually lay with the women. They were delaying the women to go back to their husbands, and the Torah considers it as if they lay with the women. Okay, Gufa. We mentioned that Rav said that Pinchas didn't sin. We said from Rabbi Yonasan, Shmuel bar Nachmani and Rabbi Yonasan, that Chafni and Pinchas didn't sin. We say Rav says that Pinchas didn't sin. Amar Rav Pinchas leichata. Pinchas didn't sin. Shenemar v'achiyah ben achite v'achiyi kavod ben Pinchas ben Eily kayin Hashem. This is talking about Shaul is together with the kayin, and there's about to be a war with the Pelishtim. And Yonasan goes together with his arms bearer. He goes and he makes some sort of sign. He says, let's go to the Philistine camp. If they tell us come up, then it's a sign God gave them into the hand. Anyway, the two went up and they started the battle. And anyway, this Kayan, Achia, is together with Shaul, and it gives him in his description, it says he's the son of Pinchas ben Eily. It says like this, is that how you would describe him? If Pinchas is a sinner, Pinchas ben Eily HaKayan, if Pinchas is a sinner, when it comes to Achia ben Achita, so it would say, oh, he's a grandson of Pinchas. It would leave that out. It doesn't put him in that category. So, it says in Malachi, over there in Malachi, it's telling the Kayanim that if you don't behave, then bad things are going to happen. Kisifsi Kayan Yishmru Malach Hashem Tzvakis, that a Kayan has to be like a Malach. It says Yachris Hashem le'isha yasena erev ha'ina mi'olei Yaakov. That Hashem will cut off anyone that behaves erev ha'ina from the tents of Yaakov. Umagish mincha la'Hashem tzvakis, and it will offer a present to God. If this is how you behave, and then you go ahead and act as the go-between to offer the gifts. So the Gemara explains, Im Yisrael hu lo yelei er b'chachamim. If he's a Yisrael and he behaves like this, so then he won't be sharp amongst the learners. V'lo yo'ina b'talmidim, and he won't be able to respond amongst the students. It means he won't be a Talmid Chacham. And if he's a kain ben magish mincha, he won't have a child. He won't have children that will be able to bring sacrifices. Elalav, it must be based on the verse in Malachi, and based on Achia ben Achitev being attributed, described as a grandson of Pinchas. Pinchas it must be Pinchas was a good person, and he didn't actually sin and lay with the women. But it says Yishkavan, that he lay with them. It says Yishkavein Ksiv. According to Rav, Pinchas didn't sin, but Chafni sinned. So it turns it into a singular. It's not Yishkavun that they lay, it's Yishkavein, a singular. He lay with the women. But Ksiv, but it says that Eily tells his sons, Al Banai, know my sons, Ki Liteva Shmua, it's not good, but I hear. He's talking to both of them. Rab Nachman by Yitzchak, B'ni Ksiv. It says Banai, but it's really B'ni. B'ni is a singular as opposed to Banai, which is my sons. B'ni is my son. V'ksiv Ma'avirim. It says that they're causing to sin. Well, Ma'avirim is a little bit difficult over here. Let me read you the Gemara, I'll tell you what's going on. Ksiv Ma'avirim, but it says Ma'avirim is like from the word Avera, that they're causing to sin. So Amar Ravuna Brei Rabbi Shua Ma'aviram Ksiv. Somehow turning it into a singular, that only one of them is causing to sin. Rashi says that Ravuna Brei Rabbi Yeshua, or either Rava, Rashi says, what is going on? There's got to be a mistake in the text of our Gemaras. It says, because it doesn't say Ma'aviram, it says Ma'avirim. And anyways, it's not a problem, because Ma'avirim is not Lashon Aveira. It says Vayaviru kol b'machana, that there's a rumor that's going around. It's not good, the report that I'm hearing. And it's talking about the report. Ma'avirim is the report from the people. It's not talking about the sons of Eily. Rashi takes this out, this question and answer about Ma'avirim. Tosfos says that Hashas Shalanu Chelek al Sfarim Shalanu. Our text of the Gemara argues on our text of the Messiah, of the text of the Tanakh. In Tanakh it says Ma'avirim. He says we have another thing over there about Shimshon. The Yerushalmi says that he served for 40 years as a judge, but in our text it was only 20 years. Chaf or mem. there's a contradiction. So if you notice over here, the Gilyan Hashas, Gilyan Hashas is Rabbi Kiveger. This is this famous Gilyan Hashas where he goes through all of the places in Shas where there's a difference in the words of Tanakh to the way the Gemara quotes those words. And Rabbi Kiveger just goes on and on, lists so many differences between our Mesorah in Tanakh and the Gemara. Okay.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
What are we learning from this? Is this that we're learning that we shouldn't make accidental slander, lo tite michshol? I mean, because you have case after case after case, and they keep on coming of, I thought it was this slanderous statement, but it really is not. I mean,
so the underlying theme is that people get blamed because they could have protested, and that's the underlying theme. And what we're learning in each case has other significance as well, but there's smaller things that are happening. The big deal is that great people get blamed because they had an influence and they didn't use it out. They could have influenced for the good. What we're seeing here also is that when you read the stories in Tanakh, you think like you read it literally. So there is a literal side to it, but you should know that there's a lot more to it. That it's a lot deeper than just the way you read it. Okay. In general, when we read about the figures of Tanakh, so there's so many different approaches. It depends which commentary you're reading. You could read it that it's Avram Sfiras Chesed. You could read you could read that there was a fellow Abraham. That it's many different approaches. Okay. Okay. Amar Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak. No, we just did that. Vaksiv b'nei Belial. B'nei Belial means not good. The children are corrupt. Well, Pinchas was his brother. He should have told him, Chafni, that you're not behaving right, and he didn't correct him. So therefore, Pinchas gets criticized as well as a corrupt person. Okay, those are the sons of Eily. What did they do according to this? They delayed the women returning back to their husbands, which is very significant. It's very important that the husband and wife should be able to be together, and they delayed them from returning. Amar Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonasan. Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani again. He says the name of Rabbi Yonasan. Kol ha'omer, we're on top of Daf Nun Vav. By the way, leaving Daf Nun Hey, you got to mark down this Rabbi Kiveger because he comes up. This is like the famous place where he has all of those interesting differences. Anyone that says the sons of Shmuel sinned is also making a mistake. Shenemar, as it says, Shmuel was getting old. His children were not following in his path. They didn't follow in his path. Shmuel was incredibly righteous. But however, it doesn't mean they sinned. They weren't as great as their father, but it doesn't mean they sinned. What does it mean that they strayed towards monetary gain, like not correct? Betza is not rightfully theirs, the gain. That they didn't behave like their father. Shmuel would go around and he would judge people in their own cities. He would travel around. It was like a traveling bezdin that he would do the service for the people. And he would go judge them. But they just didn't do that. They stayed in their place to increase the payment that would come for their secretaries. Shmuel would go around and do it on his own, I guess, without a secretary and without the assistants. They stayed in their office so that the people would come to them, and that their assistants should get more payment. It doesn't sound like such a terrible thing, but apparently that it wasn't to the standards of Shmuel. They were increasing the gain to their assistants when it didn't have to be like that. They were tagging on fees, but it could have been, people didn't really have to pay. Okay.
Excuse me, what were they getting paid for?
I guess the assistants were there that were writing up documents and different things, and calling people to court, and when they stayed home, these assistants would get that extra money. I guess the assistants didn't travel with them, so people would have to come to him, and then they would have the whole office. That's what it looks like. Sounds like a very common. This is a common thing. How are you gonna collect the money, and all of that without the office? But and then you have to pay for the office staff. Okay, Kitanoi.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but that picture in the background.
Yeah. What is that?
That's that old Rebbe card I showed you that I found 100 years, whatever. That's Rabbi Akiva Eger.
Oh.
I moved the picture wrong, but
wow, nice.
I have a miniature old Rebbe card. Yeah, I'll trade it with my Babe Ruth if anyone wants.
Wow. Very cool.
See, when they trade the cards, they say Rabbi Akiva Eger is worth more than the Chassam Sofer. This one's worth more. Okay. Kitanai. It's actually Machlekes Tanaim. It says Vayitu achri abatza. I don't have vowels here. They strayed after the monetary gain. Reb Meir Omer Chelkam Shala B'fiyim. Reb Meir says that they were Leviim. Shmuel was a Levi, and a Levi is supposed to get Meiser, so they would go ask for the Meiser. They're not. The Levi is not supposed to ask for the Meiser. It's supposed to be given to them. But what would happen here, according to Reb Meir, is that because they would go ask for the Meiser and they were important people, so then the people would give them the Meiser, and they would end up with all the Meiser, and other Leviim would lose out, because these guys, these children of Shmuel, were much more significant, and they would end up with all of the Meiser, and the poor Levium would not get it. And that's a problem. It's not that they corrupt the judgment; it's just that people would lose out because they were first in line. There was no corruption there, but it was just what they were doing. It was inconsiderate. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Malayi Tilo al Balei Batim. I'm not sure exactly what this means. This sounds like they would, according to Rashi, people would be selling their merchandise for them, and then when they would end up in court, there was already a closeness between these people and the children of Shmuel, and that wasn't correct, that they should have that, because that could cause the judgment to be biased. Rabbi Akiva Aimer, Kupa Yisir Shel Meiser Not LeBezraya. Rabbi Akiva says, this is out of order. It's very, very out of order. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is the teacher. And then it goes Rabbi Yossi. So the order must not be by the teacher, by the names of the people. The order must be based on how great the sin was. That they took an extra portion of Meiser. Okay. Meiser is only 1/10. They took extra. That they took matanis by force. Rashi has a few pshatim there. One of them is that they took matanis that are supposed to go to the kayanim. Matanis is the hand, the foreleg, the jaw, and the stomach of each animal goes to the kayan. These Levium would take it. That's one pshat. Another pshat is that it's just a meiser, but instead of waiting for it to be given, they would take it. Okay. Amr Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani Amr Reb Yonasan. It's continuing. It says, Kalaymer David Chatein Alataya. Anyone that says David sinned is making a mistake. Shneemar, as it says, Vayidavid l'chol derachav maskil v'Hashem imay. It says, and David in all his ways was maskil, was understanding, and God was with him. It says, Efsher chet baliyada yeshchina imay. Is it possible that he sinned with Bathsheba and the Shechina is still there? Elamani Mekayim, Madua Bazisas Tvar Hashem Lasi Sarah. It says, I guess Nasan Navi is telling him, why did you do this? You shamed the word of God. The Gemara answers, Shabikis Lasis V'layasa. He attempted, but he didn't actually do. We have to see. The Gemara, it's a long Gemara here. It's going to discuss this. Some commentaries, without learning this Gemara, but it's just the quote of Kalaymer David Chata, Ein Alataya, is making a mistake if he says David sinned. Some emphasize that if you think David sinned the way that a regular person sinned, Kol Ha'omer David Chata, you say, yeah, I sinned, David sinned. If he's the person that says that, that's making a mistake. David is on a much higher level, and no one can say that, oh, David sinned, just like that. It's much more complex. So what's happening here is David, of course, married Bathsheba. Bathsheba was married to Uriah. Now, the Gemara is going to go through exactly what happened. So, but Uriah gets killed in battle, and David marries her. What the Gemara means is that David did not live with Bathsheba before Uriah was killed. Amar Rav, Rabbi, the Asimi David, Mahapech v'darsh b'schusi de David. Rabbi, is Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. He's a descendant of David, so he learns the story different. He learns that he adjusts it to make David more merit.
Smith?
Yeah.
Robert Smith. When it says that David only thought to do a Nevera, but he didn't actually do it.
Right.
Didn't we learn that a thought of a Nevera is sometimes worse than an actual doing?
Yeah, so that's interesting. What would come out is like this, that the text of the Tanakh that says that David sinned, that's referring to the thoughts of sin. And the Gemara is discussing the actual, how this would stand in court, saying that no, he didn't sin. In court, he would have been correct. But the Tanakh, the text of Shmuel, of the book of Shmuel that discusses this is it's referring to the attempt and the thoughts. So, well, how does it go? He says, "Madua bazisas tvar Hashem lasi sarah." Why did you shame the word of God to do this, commit this evil? Rabbi Yomi meshuna razu mikol reisha b'Torah. Says you have to look at the way it's written. It's written different than all other places in the Torah where it discusses about evil. Shekol reisha b'Torah ksiv bu vayas. All other places says vayas hara b'nei Hashem, that they did evil. V'kan ksiv lases hara, to do, which means shabikis lases v'layasa. You have to read it carefully. If you notice, there's a difference here in the way that it's written. Not that they did. but to do. That means that there was an attempt, but he didn't actually. It was like an unfulfilled crime, action. Las is to do. What does it say? It says, "Es Uriah hachiti hakisa b'charev." It says, what happened was he called him back. He called Uriah back to his house. From the text, it looks like the story was that David lived with Bathsheba, and then it's not going to look good. Bathsheba could be pregnant. He calls Uriah back to be with his wife. So that would cover up. That's from the text. That's what it looks like. Uriah says, "How could I come back from battle? Yoav, the general, is there, and everyone is there in the battle. I'm not coming home now and just going to relax with and eat and drink. There's a battle going on." So he's like, and anyway, he doesn't come back, but he ends up going to the front, gets sent to the front lines, and gets killed over there. Now, so the prophet tells David that look what you did. You killed Uriah. Uriah achiti kisa b'charev. He sent him to the front lines and gets killed. But what does that mean? Rabbi is learning this. Uriah Achiti was guilty anyway. You should have had him. You should have set up a judgment in the Sanhedrin and judged the case. But you didn't do it. You didn't kill him unjustly, but you didn't do it with the protocol that you should have followed. Taisus over here says, "What do you mean? If Uriah is really guilty of being married b'malchus, as we'll see later what exactly he did, so why does he have to do that? Why does he have to go to Sanhedrin? What's it called? Martial law. You could you do it the way they do it in battle. There's different types of laws." So Taisus says, well, you had to go to the Sanhedrin to find out if he was guilty of being married b'malchus. And then you didn't have to follow the protocol of Sanhedrin where they kill him, they can't kill him at night or whatever. You can kill him right away. But the judgment determining if he's guilty, that had to be done by the Sanhedrin, and David didn't do that. Look at what it says. It says his wife you took for a wife. Uriah's wife, which is Bathsheba, you took for a wife. But what does that mean? Lekuchen yesh lachba. Lekuchen means that there was actually a marriage. How could you have married her if it wasn't rightful? If it wasn't, it must be that it's a legitimate marriage. That means that David wasn't guilty. He uses the term lekuchen. That's the word that he uses for kedushin. Ki yikach. It means that was a real marriage. It means that David was able to marry Bathsheba rightfully. Damer Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani am Rabbi Yisrael kol yitzin lemechemes beis David kaisav get krisis leishtei. Again, Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani says, name of Rabbi Yonasan, that anyone that went to war for the house of David would write a divorce to his wife. Shenemar, we quote a verse. Very interesting that the verse that we quote was nothing to do with David. It has to do with David. It doesn't have to do with going to war for David. It says, "V'saseres charitzi achala ve'ila tavi l'sara aleph v'sachicha tifke l'shalom v'aseruvasim tikach." Yishai tells David, "Go visit your brothers in the battle by Shaul." This is when David ends up going over there, and he hears Goliath shouting every morning, disturbing the Shema prayer. And Yishai sends, take these 10 pieces of cheese, bring them to the general, Sarah Elef, and see how your brothers are doing. And take their aruvasam. Aruvasam, it could be translated literally as their pawns, which means soldiers, they didn't have an income until they won the battle and had spoils. But meanwhile, they had to pawn their items to be able to live. So take their things and help out your brothers. My aruvasam. What does it mean aruvasam? The Gemara asks, Rabbi Yosef devarim hamuravim beinay lebeina. Aruvasam are the things that are joining him and her. That means take back their get to the wives. It's very possible that the soldiers ran out to the battlefield and they forgot to write a get to their wife. So Yishai was telling David, go get the get for your brothers, your brothers' wives. Why? Just in case they get lost they die in battle. It could be that the wives were going to have to do yibum, which could be very inconvenient, especially could be the child is very young, the brother of the husband is very young, they have to wait till he's old enough, all types of complications. Maybe he's not around. And maybe they don't want to get involved in that. So they say just have a divorce that will be there. That way, you don't have to go through the Yibum process. Another issue is it could be we don't know if he's going to die in battle. The body gets lost. We'd have no testimony, and the wife is an aguna. So they would have this document of divorce, and would come back. They would annul it. It was written on a condition that if they die in battle, this should be a get. Okay. So when they would return, it would be annulled. But Uriah died in battle. So it was okay for David to marry Bathsheba. But it says, it says like this. It says you had him killed with the sword of Bnei Ammon. That was the battle. This is Uriah. The telling David that you had Uriah killed by the sword of Bnei Ammon. Just like you don't get punished the fact that the sword of Ammon killed Uriah. That's not your fault. So too, just like what Bnei Ammon does, you don't get punished for. So too, you don't get punished for Uriah dying. My time. What's the reason for that? It says Mered b'malchas haba. Uriah was rebellious against David. He was a Mered b'malchas. What did he do? He says that my master Yoav and your servant and the servants of my master, which is David, are on the field. And you want me to come home and I should spend time with my wife. So Rashi says that he was married b'malchus because he said Adoni Yoav. He said my master Yoav in front of David, in front of the king. You don't say my master, some other person. Taisvis doesn't accept that. He says that was okay for him to do that. He wasn't saying that he's going to make Yoav into another king. It wasn't his intention. It's like married b'malchus is I have my own king, David. Rather, he was married b'malchus because David told him what to do and he didn't follow. He said, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. Amar Rav. Rav says, Ki minus be David, when you look into the story of David, lo mishkachas be bar midu Uriah. You're only going to find the problem of Uriah, but not Bathsheba. The fact that he lived with Bathsheba, you're not going to find that it was a real issue. The only issue is that he had Uriah killed. As it says, Rak bidvar Uriah achiti. I don't have the full pasuk here. What does it say in the pasuk? This is Malachim. Who's talking? It says that he was forgiven, I think, for everything except for matter of Uriah. Read to me the pasuk if someone has it over there in the new Gemaras.
Yossi, just read it by heart.
Let's see. This is in Malachim Aleph Tesvav. Okay. Yeah, pasuk says that that David did what was good in the eyes of Hashem. He didn't stray at all the days of his life, except for Uriah Achiti. Yeah, talking about one of the kings of the Yehuda kingdom that he did not behave properly. He followed his father instead of following David. And David followed Hashem in every area except for Uriah Hitti. We have a pasuk later in Malachim that says that that was considered a crime. Okay. Abaya Kshisha. Abaya the elder. Rami de Rav. He asked a contradiction of Rav on Rav. Rav over here says that David only sinned with Uriah, but we have another sin. It says, Miyam Rav Hachi, did Rav really say that? From Rav Kibul Dabal Lashon Hara. Rav says that David accepted Lashon Hara. It says Kasha. There's a problem. Okay. Gufa. This is a complex Gemara, the following Gemara. I'm not sure if I got the details accurate. So if you have the notes over there, let's follow along and help me out a little bit. It says, Rav Amar Kibel David Lashon Hara. Rav says that David accepted Lashon Hara. The Ksiv, as it's written, the king says, what happened is Shaul and Yonasan died in battle. Shaul was the king before David. Yonasan was David's friend. Yonasan has a son, and David wants to know if there's a son left, if there's anyone that's left alive in Yonasan's family. Shaul also has a son. Shaul's son is called Ishbaishas, and he took over after Shaul in the area, in the general area, while David was only the king in the small area until after Ishbaishas. Then David took over. Yonasan's son is Mephibosheth, and he didn't know where he was. So he asks, Vayomer loy Melech, the king asks him, where is the son? Him is the servant of Shaul. Vayomer Tziva lamelech, Tziva tells the king David, Inu beis Mechir ben Amiel b'lei davar. Behold, he is in beis Mechir, he's in the house of Mechir ben Amiel, without any matter, b'lei davar. B'lei davar means that he's not a chacham. He has no Torah in him. And he's, so that's what he says. Vayishlach hamelach v'yikachem beis Mechir ben Amiel milei davar. And the king sends, and he brings him from beis Mechir. Milei davar. Milei davar is really a place. But over here, the Gemara is learning it, that it means he was, it starts off with Bilai Davar, and he ends off with Ben Mechir Milai Davar. Milai means filled. The report to him is that he's not a Chacham. He comes back, Milai Davar, that he's filled with Torah. So the Gemara says, Mechti, Chazi the Shikru. You saw that it wasn't true. Ki hadar alshin ilave maita mekibla minei. So why is afterwards, the first report, he sees that there was some gossip here, and David saw that it wasn't true, so of course he doesn't accept it. Apparently there is another report that's going to come later, and David is going to accept it. The Gemara is asking, if you see that Siva, who was the servant of Shaul, makes up stories, so why is he going to accept the second story? Ki hadar alshin elave maitab kibla minei d'ksiv vayomer hamelech v'aya al tziva v'aya ben adinecha aya ben adinecha v'yomer tziva l'melech hinei hu yoshe b'Yerushalayim. He asks him, where is the son of your master? And he says he's in Yerushalayim. Now, when he's asking him this, does anyone see in the note, when he's referring to the son of your master, is he referring to Mephibosheth or Ishbosheth?
Here it says Mephibosheth.
Mephibosheth. Okay, so when he says the son of your master, it means like a grandson, unless, and I guess that's what it means. Minalan the kibbel, but how do you know? He says he's sitting in Yerushalayim. Now, when he says sitting in Yerushalayim, that's referring to the fact that he's hoping. What Tziva was saying is that Mephibosheth is hoping that David would die in the battle with Avshalom, and then he would get the kingdom back. So, Minalan the kibbel, how do you know that David accepts this gossip? There is everything that I'm giving you, everything that belongs to Mephibosheth. I'm bowing down. I guess. Okay. That's he says that he's giving to him everything that belonged to him. That meant that he was accepting the bad report against Mephibosheth. However, Shmuel says, "Leikibel David lashon hara." Shmuel did not accept this lashon hara. He saw what was obvious. It wasn't what he accepted from the report of Tziva, but it's what he actually saw, which goes like this. Mephibosheth, the Ksiv, it says, Mephibosheth ben Shaul Yarad, I guess, Likras or Lifnei HaMelech, apparently, David is coming to, after the war with Avshalom, David is coming back to his kingdom, and Mephibosheth does not cut his hair at all. Mephibosheth was expecting that David would lose, and then Mephibosheth would be the king, and he would then get his hair cut and do everything. But here he's sort of like in mourning that David won the battle. Uksiv, and it says, why didn't you come along? What's that next word? Ramani. Because your servant said, Vayiragal ba'avdecha ladeni hamelach v'adeni hamelach k'malach alikim v'asa tev be'einecha. Let me see what this is. Okay, and it came to pass when he came to Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth? He answered, my lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I will saddle me a donkey, I will ride on it and go to the king, because lame is your servant. He was lame, and he wasn't able to go on his own. He needed help. Vayiragal ba'avdecha ladeni hamelach v'adeni hamelach k'malach alikim v'aseh tev beinecha v'yom la'hamelach lama tedaber oi dvarecha v'amarti ata v'tziva techalku es hasada. He slandered your servant to you, which means he slandered me. But David is a king like the angel of Hashem. So do what is good in your eyes. So David tells him, why do you speak any more of your matters? I said you and Tziva should divide the field, divide the estate that belonged to the family of Shaul. Mephibosheth said, let him even take all. Just the fact that the king came back is good enough. He came back in peace. And Amalai, which he says, Ani amarti masitav b'shalom. Mephibosheth said, I was hoping that you would return. When will he come in peace? And then, and now you give half my estate to of the family to Tziva. It's not against you that I'm upset, but against the one that brought you back in peace. In other words, he was upset that David survived. So Shmuel is saying that it's not a report, it's not lashon hara that David accepted, it's what he heard from Mephibosheth and what he saw in Mephibosheth. Okay. Hainu Diksiv, Ben Yainasan Meriv Baal. The son of Yainasan was Meriv Baal. That's what he's called in Divrei Yamim. So the Gemara says, V'chi Meriv Baal Shmai. Is that his name? Meriv Baal? Balei Mephibosheth Shmai. His name is Mephibosheth. Because he caused the conflict with his master. Over here it means Hashem. Yatsa Baskal V'amalei Netzei Bar Netzei. A fighter, son of a fighter. Netzei Hadamran. We see that he causes conflict. Bar Netzei. What about that? Diksiv, what does it mean he's the son of a someone that causes fights? Diksiv, Vayavishal ad Ir Amalek, Vayerev Banachal. Shaul comes to the city of Amalek, and he has a battle and he quarreled in the valley. What does it mean, quarreled in the valley? Amar Mani Aliski Nachal. He quarreled with regards to matters of the valley. He said like this. It says that if one person gets killed in the valley, so you have to bring an egla rufa. So should I go and kill all the Amalekim? Should I kill all of them? That meant that he was fighting with Hashem. Okay. Mephibosheth was complaining that David survived, and Shaul complained about having to kill the Amaleki. So you see, they're both quarrelsome. It says like this: Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav Shosham Amar David Mephibosheth She'ata v'tziva techalku es hasada. When David tells Mephibosheth, you and Tziva will divide your property. Yatsa Baskal, a heavenly voice comes out. V'amalai rechavam v'yaravam yechalku es hamalchus. The division of the kingdom will take place. Rechavam is the son of Shlomo Melech, and Yeravam is the servant, or one of the soldiers, an important soldier, general. They will divide the kingdom. Because David tells Mephibosheth, who's the right inheritor, that you're going to divide the inheritance with your servant, so too the kingdom of David gets divided with his inheritors and the servant. That's the division of the kingdom between the Yehuda, which is in the south, and the 10 tribes, which is in the north. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says, name of Rav, if David wouldn't have accepted Lashon Hara, that's according to Rav's opinion, David, the division of David, the kingdom of David would never have been divided. There would have been just one king over all of Israel. Then the Jewish people wouldn't have served idols, because the idol worship was mainly in the north. And we wouldn't have been exiled. It's a huge story here about Lashon Hara. I'm Rab Shmuel Bar Nachmani, I'm Rabbi Yonasan. Shmuel Bar Nachmani says in the name of Rabbi Yonasan, anyone that says that Shleima sinned, he's making a mistake. It says that he wasn't sincere with Hashem, his God, like David, his father. So it's very clear. Like his father, he wasn't. But that doesn't mean he sinned. His father was incredibly great and sincere with Hashem. He wasn't as sincere, but that doesn't mean that he sinned. There's a bunch of things that we have to discuss. How do we reconcile all of those verses? But one thing is clear, that it wasn't an actual sin. Elamani Makayim, but how would we fulfill the verse? Eily Sikna Shleima was when Shleima got old, Nashav Hitu Es Levavai, that his wives had his heart stray. When Shlomo was old, his wives were from these other countries, and they worshipped idols. It says, Reb Nassan. That goes like Reb Nassan. The Reb Nassan Rami. Reb Nassan pose the contradiction. It says, Ksiv, one pasuk says, one pasuk says that when Shlomo was older, his wives had caused his heart to stray. But Ksiv, another pasuk says, like that he wasn't like sincere, like David his father. He wasn't like his father, but but that means that he didn't sin either. So it's a contradiction. Exactly the question that we had. This is what it means. Was when Shlomo got old, his wives wanted him to stray after foreign gods. But he didn't go. It says they caused his heart to stray. Doesn't mean that he actually strayed. They caused. They were causing it, but he didn't actually do that. One second. It says, Oz Yivne Shlomo Bama L'chmaish Shekaitz Mayav. Then Shlomo built an altar for Kmaish, which is Shekatz Mayav, which is the idol of Mayav. Shebikish Livnes V'Leibana. That means that he wanted to build, but he didn't actually build it. Elamiata, if that's the case, Oz Yivne Yeshua Mizbeach L'Hashem Shebikesh Livnes V'Leibana, when Yeshua built an altar and he uses the word Yivne, that means that he only wanted to build, but he didn't actually do it. That's what you want to say, that's what that words mean. So, where it says Ela Debana, it must mean that Yeshua actually built it. So, Achanami Debana. So here also Shlomo must have built the altar to the idol, to Kmaish. Ela Kedetanya. Rather, we have to translate it like this. Rabbi Yosi, it was taught in a brayso. Rabbi Yosi, Vesabama Sashel Pnei Yerushalayim Asher Mimin Lehara Mishcha Shabana Shlomo Melech Yisrael Ashtrei Shikutz Tedainim. This is by Yayash, I think. That it says that he was destroying the idols that were there. The bamais, which are the altars that are on Yerushalayim to the right of the Hara Mishcha, and that Shlomo Melech built to Ashtares. Ashtares is one of the idols. Efshir ba'asa v'leibiram. Is it possible that they still existed? Asa was a great king for 40 years or something, and he didn't destroy these idols. Yeshafat v'leibiram. Yeshafat was a great king. He didn't destroy. Achaba Yoshia Ubiram, in Yoshia comes and destroys him. It says in the Psukim that Asa was one of the great kings of Yehuda, and Yeshafat was a great king of Yehuda. They didn't destroy these idols. It says they destroyed all the idols. Rather, it's making a comparison. Making a comparison, the early ones to the later ones. The comparison is it's comparing Shlomo to Yayash. Ma achreinim layasu v'telabem l'shvach. Just like Yayash didn't actually destroy them, but it's considered like he did because he destroyed everything else. Afri shainim layasu. Also, Shlomo didn't actually build it. V'telabem l'gnai, but it's still considered like he did. Why? We'll see in a minute. But it says, it says that Shlomo did bad in the eyes of Hashem. He should have rebuked his wives. And the fact that he didn't, that's what made it like he did it. He wasn't Meicha. Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi says, name Shmuel, Neichel, Leis Tzadik, Shei, Shamash, L'davar Acher. It would better be for that tzaddik to be a shamish, a caretaker to an avodah zarah, val yichtebei v'yasser rabbeinu Hashem, and not to write that he did evil in the eyes of Hashem. That would have been better. Which means that when you have the ability to rebuke, a person has the ability to rebuke and he doesn't, it's even worse. It's even worse. That's a
Shmuel's comment could be applied to virtually everything we've read today.
Yeah, that not rebuke. You're saying that not rebuking?
No. I'm saying that in all of these cases, All of we've been talking about today is cases where the plain meaning of the words appears to say something bad about a tzaddik.
Right.
It's not really that way. But in all cases, these different words could have been used, which wouldn't lead you to think that in the first place. For example, I think on the previous daf, we talked about the sons of Pinchas, who lay with women.
Right. Sons of
And then
Eily.
it comes out, well, he didn't really lay with them. They kept them from being with their husbands. But in the first place, it could have said, he laid and kept them from being with their children, so that nobody would have the thought, it seems to me that Shmuel's comment here applies to everything we've done in the last two dafim.
That's interesting.
Whatever.
Also, we just learned you're supposed to rebuke your wife if she's involved with idolatry, not just rebuke your wife, right?
No, you're supposed to rebuke her all the time.
I hear you. With witchcraft. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. B'shasha nasa Shlemes Basparai, when Shlema married Basparai, chnisei 1,000 mini zemer. She brought in 1,000 different types of instruments. Aaron, you hear? She showed him, this is how they sing this is how they play that. This Avodah Zarah does it like this Avodah Zarah does it like that. And he didn't protest. It was, I guess, entertainment. He let her describe all the different instruments that were used for Avodah Zarahs. When Shlomo married Baspara, Gabriel came and he stuck Gabriel came down, he stuck a reed stick in the sea in Allah by Sirtain. How do they translate Sirtain by you? Crab? No. It says Va'alav nivna krach.
Sandbank.
A sandbank, that's what it says?
Yeah.
Va'alav nivna krach gadol shel Raimi. And on it was built the big city of Rome. The Masnisatan and Bryce says, when Yeravam, he didn't want people to travel to the south, to the temple. He was took over the northern kingdom. So he put two idols, one in Echad beBeiskel, Echad beDan, golden calves he made. He put one in Beiskel, one in Dan, on both sides of his territory. Nivnet Tzrif Echad was a little hut was built. V'zeu Italia Shel Yavan, this is Italy of Greece. Apparently, Italy was considered an island of Greece in those days. Before Rome became Rome, it was like the origin of Italy. Maybe they considered Sicily an island of Greece. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Amar Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonasan Kalayma Yeshio Chatein Alataya. Let's try to finish the parak if you don't mind. We'll just go another 2 minutes here. Whoever says that Yeshio sinned, Yeshio was a great king, he's making a mistake. Shenemar, it says, Vayasa Yasha ben Yashem, Be'elech b'chol derech David aviv, and he went in all the ways of David his father. Elamani Mekayim K'mayla Melech Afanav Shashav V'Gomer, but it says that there was no king before him that did tshuva the way Yeshio did. That means that at the beginning he wasn't righteous. Shekol din shedan. The answer is that every judgment that he judged, mi ben shmeina, ad shmein esrei hechzirin lahen, he returned. That means that he wasn't sure about his early judgments. He went around and he paid back anyone that he judged from 8 to 18. He paid them back. He was afraid that maybe he didn't judge correctly when in his youth. Maybe you say that he took it from one and he gave to the other. He returned with all his might, and ma'idei always means could also mean with all his money. That means he gave it with him he gave it from his own money. And as you could have thought, maybe he said, "Oh yeah, maybe I gave it wrong to him." He took the money back from the person that he judged in his favor. He didn't do that. He paid from his own money. Pligid the Rav. This argues on Rav. Damar Rav. There's no one greater, no Baal Tshuva greater than Yeshua in his generation. And there's one person in our generation as well. Umanu, and who was that person? Abba, Avuad Rabbi Yirmiyah. This is Abba, the father of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. It's Abba, the father of Rabbi
My
Yirmiyah bar
Gemara says
Abba.
Ukvan.
1 second.
Oh no, sorry.
That's the next piece. 1 second. The Amrila Acha Achva the Abba Avua the Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. And some say that his name is Acha, who's the brother of Abba, the father of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba's uncle. Damar Mar Rabbi Abba va'acha. The Amar Mar Rabbi Acha va'acha Achi Abu. Because it was taught that Abba and Acha were brothers. Amar Rav Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says, Vaydachad b'dareinu. Rabbi Yosef says there's another person that's a Baal Tshuva, and he's in our generation. Amanu Ukva bar Nechemya Reish Galusa. It's Ukva bar Nechemya the Reish Galusa. He was a Baal Tshuva. Behind Nasan de Tzutzisa. This is Nasan de Tzutzisa. Why is he called de Tzutzisa? It says apparently there were sparks of light that were flying out, showed that his tshuva was accepted. Or maybe the malach grabbed him by his hair, which is like tzitzis is called the Amar Rav Yosef, have a yesivna bepirka. I was sitting in the shiur, and I fell asleep. I saw in a dream that he put out his hand and was accepted. Okay, I don't have any commentary in here. You have to study what's going on with Nasan de Tzitzisa.